Thanks for checking out the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to see me play your deck, hang out with me in the amazing BoshNRoll community in Discord, access to my lists and sideboard guides before tournaments, book an individual coaching session, or just generally want to support what's going on here, check out the Patreon and YouTube membership options. For the finest Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, use code BoshNRoll for 10% off your order at coalesceapparel.shop. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. If you want to play what I'm playing, use my affiliate link to support the channel while you shop for cards at tcgplayer.com and play any deck anytime on Magic Online with a cardhoarder.com loan account. Thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back for another BoshNRoll video. Today, at the request of Patreon subscriber Andy, I'm playing some Azorius Control in Pioneer. This deck is just so pretty to me. I'm not going to lie, this is exactly the type of Magic I want to play if it's even remotely viable. This is just a wall of removal and counter spells and ways to draw cards until you just win with your 2 copies of TEFERI, 2 copies of Shark Typhoon, or 4 Wandering Emperors. I guess there's 1 creature land as well. Those are all the ways to win in the deck. And everything else is just keeping you alive, wasting time, killing other stuff, removing other stuff until you get around to just, sticking one of your 9 ways to win the game. All of those ways to win the game also draw cards or stabilize the board in some way, or one's just a land built right into your mana base. This is classic blue-white control Magic, and the Pioneer card pool is pretty hardy on this stuff. There's not really great counter spells, like we're playing Censor and Jwari Disruption on 2, but when you get up into the 3 mana range, you get Absorb, which was a huge player in Standard in its time. I believe, if memory serves, I was pretty young at the time. I think Undermine, the black version, blue, blue, black, counter target spell, its controller loses 3 life, was better than Absorb at the time. But Absorb is still a really sweet one. And 4x Wandering Emperor. We've been playing this card in Legacy in a 2 of lately a lot, so seeing 4 of it in a significantly less powerful format makes a lot of sense. Just something you want to be doing. 4 Supreme Verdict, not messing around with those creature decks. And guess what? We're not even done there. There's a Farewell on top of the 4 Supreme Verdicts. And then there's another Farewell and a Settle the Wreckage in the sideboard. Not joking around here with the creatures, because Pioneer is largely a creature format. The best deck is a green ramp deck. And the other decks in the top end of the format are like Phoenix and Rakdos. Rakdos is also a creature deck. Phoenix is also a creature deck. The creatures are a little different than normal because they jump out of the graveyard after you cast spells, but they're still attacking with creatures. And it makes sense that we have just all this removal in the deck. The big trick with Pioneer is not that the answers are bad, because Absorb and Supreme Verdict and TEFERI and Wandering Emperor are all insanely powerful cards. It's about getting them to line up right, because the threats are actually really good. Like the green Nykthos deck can go really hard, really fast, can accelerate past your answer's ability to answer what they're asking you. The Rakdos deck is a Thoughtseize deck. Phoenix sees so many cards, and the creatures come back and back. And it's really about having everything line up correctly more than it is about, do we have the answers at all? And without Brainstorm, Ponder, Serum Visions, Sleight of Hand, Expressive Iteration, like all the things that Modern and Legacy do to find the specific cards they need in a matchup, this deck is really just trying to get there all natural. Just draw cards, a Memory Deluge, cycling Censors, cycling Shark Typhoons. There's not a lot of selection here. It's just about having enough interaction that you naturally draw the interaction you're looking for. And that could get a little dicey, but if we can make it line up, this is exactly the type of super satisfying Magic I want to play. The one thing that's really on my radar is Liliana of the Veil, who was just added to Pioneer with the release of Dominaria United. And that card has historically been trouble for control decks. We do have 2 Fateful Absence. The Censor and Jwari Disruption, if the Liliana is played on curve, can hit it. If it's played off curve, Absorb can hit it. We could pressure it with Wandering Emperor or Shark Typhoon, exile it with March of Otherworldly Light, and TEFERI can tuck it. So we're not without answer here. It's just like, that is the type of scary card that I can see resolving early and creating a lot of problems for us. So I got my eye on Liliana. I'll be thinking about it if my opponent has black mana. Otherwise, we're just here to waste time and draw cards. Let's do it. I love this shit. I'm on the draw in round 1, and my opponent revealed Gigantha, which could be a variety of decks, including Rakdos or Cat or whatever. I'm into this hand. I've got Censor on turn 2, March of Otherworldly Light as well. Okay. Elvish Mystic, Botanical Sanctum. What does this? March of the Otherworldly Light, it's going to mess with me throughout this league because I'm so used to casting Prismatic Ending. The last time I played Pioneer, I just had a really hard time figuring out where I can point my lights. And because you actually do have to pay the X. The Pioneer viewers are like, yeah, duh. And I'm like, come on, give me a break. I'm trying here. Okay, this is the Kinnan deck that I saw Brennan DeCandio put up a trophy with yesterday and tweeted about it. Yeah, this thing's going bananas. Didn't hit any artifacts on the Emery Mill. We like that. But a second Mox Amber actually has text now. Okay, I'm not convinced that Censor is going to do much. I could pitch to March and try to clear the Kinnan. If I do that, I would have to pitch either Wandering Emperor or Absorb. I'm into Absorb next turn if I think I'm going to get a next turn. All right, I'm going to exile Kinnan. Yeah, pitch a card, get Kinnan out of here. At least we have the option to do that. That is the important part of the deck they're playing. And I can cycle Censor this turn if I don't think it's going to be useful, which it probably isn't. Okay, GC. Well, this is going to be tough to beat. Yeah, them coming up quick with a Mana Dork. This is what I'm talking about the counter spells being kind of sus. And if I didn't remove the Kinnan, I guess one thing I could have done was shock in my Hallowed Fountain to remove Kinnan end step, then I'm holding up Censor for this turn. In hindsight's 2020, but I'm not sure if that's like a normal play Azorius would make, or if it's just a thing that I ended up doing. The Reality Chip is in their hand, and even if I counter it next turn, Emery can play it again. That sucks. I am going to cycle Censor here. We're up into Absorb anyway, if that's going to be the plan. Iganjo, that's not the worst. I think I have to play Otawara in land mode and pass the turn. I'll see what they end up doing here. It sucks that I can't really answer this Reality Chip effectively because of the Emery, but I probably have to anyway. I guess I could let them get it equipped, and it would depend on how many zeros are in the deck. Alright, Reality Chip's in. I'm not going to fight over it because I can't win the fight. I'm going to spend this turn. If they have a follow-up play, I'll absorb that. But this is what I was looking for. They just minused Karn into Shark Typhoon. I can make a 1/1 creature, kill off the Karn, counter Paradox Engine next turn. Ooh, if they're just giving me Emery right now. I could Iganjo the Emery. Is that good? Or do I need to get Karn out of here? That's close. I guess I need to counter or kill the Emery if my plan is to counter the Paradox Engine, because as long as there's things in the graveyard, as long as the countered spells end up in the graveyard, Emery can get them back eventually. That was the problem with the Reality Chip. Courier's Briefcase. Enters battlefield, make a 1/1 green and white citizen. Sacrifice the briefcase, add 1 mana of any color. Okay. That is a card that exists. Castle Vantress. I could play the Hall and just show Absorb for the turn. I'm going to play Vantress though, because if they don't commit their Paradox Engine, because I'm showing up mana, I want to be able to make a shark that's big enough to kill Karn. Ooh, Reality Chip is a legend. I was about to say they don't have any legends for Mox Amber, but they do. Add 1 mana of any color, tap a legendary creature you control, add 1 mana of any color. Sure, that's not the fight. That card is powerful. But knowing that Paradox Engine is in hand, I gotta be careful here. Karn plus target nothing. Okay, equipping the Reality Chip. That's fine. It's powerful, but also fine. Mox Amber off the top of the deck. I kind of need this Shark Typhoon to come up with Portable Hole. Or am I supposed to Deluge instead? Like, I just don't know how important Karn is. Like, Deluge gives me more looks at Portable Hole plus White Land. If I can exile the Reality Chip and hold up Absorb, things are much better. I feel like clearing Karn is just worth doing. I'm going to try that. This might be format knowledge coming up short, but in the world I live in, you get rid of Karn if you can. All right, I did find the Portable Hole. I can't clear the... I can't also counter the engine. They don't have enough white mana. Do I just wait a turn? Like, how bad is Paradox Engine? Whenever you cast a spell, untap all non-land permanents you control. I mean, like, obviously that card's really good, but compared to a turn with the Reality Chip going nuts. All right, I'll give them their turn with the Reality Chip going nuts. I just know Paradox Engine is in hand, and that card is terrifying. Emery, okay. Another Paradox Engine in the graveyard. All right, so they don't even really need to do anything now. That Emery came off the top of the deck too. So did that Elvish Mystic. Okay, there's the engine. We got to get rid of that. Oh wait, I was thinking about Absorb backwards. Oh damn it. This whole turn was unnecessary. I thought it was white, white, blue, like Supreme Verdict. Just bad muscle memory. Oh shit. Okay. Well, I'm going to Fateful Absence, Emery, and Portable Hole, the Reality Chip. Okay, Portable Hole. Literally had it, and it's just like, yeah, this Emery, this Elvish Mystic, all those extra cards completely did not need to happen. Get rid of the Chippo. And I could just Otherworldly Light Emery if I don't want to give them a token. This leaves up at least Jwari Disruption or similar. So I will go after the Emery with the lower cost thing. Okay, that was a really bad turn. Whoops. Wrong Azorius gold card in my deck. Let's see if I can survive it anyway. Oh, Kinnan. What could go wrong here? Oh, another Paradox Engine from hand? Sure. You have a spell to get it going? They're tapping and untapping a lot of mana here. Not sure what that means for me. I hope it means put Gigantha in hand and pass the turn. 6 mana, use the Courier's Briefcase. Oh, change their mind. They don't know what's going on right now. The second Paradox Engine. This card is a legend, but it does load up your mana. Drawing a card with the clue in response. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana available right now. That's enough to get and cast Gigantha at bare minimum. Mox Amber. Okay. Another legend, and they can activate Kinnan, or they can get and cast Gigantha, and then also activate Kinnan. So it seems like Gigantha is the play here. All right, activated Kinnan instead. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature from among them onto the battlefield. Is that a whiff? No new objects are on the battlefield. Activating it again. Okay, this tap and untap non-token artifact you control, add green. Tap 2 untap non-token artifacts you control, exile the top card of your library you may play it this turn. All right, only 1 untapped artifact right now. Okay, scary stuff going on over there. Wandering Emperor, not helpful. I think I'm more worried about Kinnan than I am about Maria, but it's really close. They're both bad. I needed Supreme Verdict here. I can remove one of these creatures. Just have to figure out which one. It's probably Kinnan. I'm just going to zap Kinnan. That at least gates the mana a little bit, but this Paradox Engine is still going to kill me. Yeah, that turn where I did not know what the mana value or mana cost of my spell was really devastating. Surprise to nobody except me. I exiled a Spire Bluff Canal and played it immediately. A 3/3? Wow, that's so big. Okay, well, that's an attack, which means that this creature is now tapped, which means, and if they have any instant, they can untap it, but this is my shot. Slurp. Did it work? Yeah, okay. All right. I'm really glad Gigantha's not in play, which was totally a possibility 2 turns ago. We've both made mistakes this game. All right, they are throwing the buddies into the blender to get rid of Wandering Emperor. Happy to take out an Elvish Mystic. And I'm going to Memory Deluge now, as there are sorcery speed spells in my deck. Oh, that's a lot of lands. All right, Castle Ardenvale and Irrigated Farmland come to my hand. And I'm going to play the Island and pass. Played Breeding Pool. Still not interested in Gigantha. I wonder if they forgot they have it. I'm going to cycle Irrigated Farmland. All right, now I actually have a counterspell. We're starting to do this somehow, some way. I think it's time to start attacking as well. I'm winning the race here, and I have Castle Ardenvale and Hall of Storm Giants ready to put the gas on. Wow. Undeserved, but mistakes were made, it's safe to say, on behalf of everybody. Okay. Farewell. Exile artifacts and creatures. That seems like a spell I want access to. Dovin's Veto. Yes. This deck has Karn and Paradox Engine in it. Get them in. Narset. Didn't see a lot of drawing cards from them. Summary Dismissal, kind of whatever. Rest in Peace. They are an Emery deck. I lose my 2 Memory Deluges, like the flashback option on them, but they lose their whole memory engine. Memory engine. On the draw, Bari Disruption, Censor. These cards actually seem pretty good. Do you cut Memory Deluge if you're bringing in Rest in Peace, or is like the front half still good enough? That's actually a thing that's interesting. Blue-white players in the comments, let me know if that's just a thing you do. Right, I think Jwari Disruption should bounce, and Wandering Emperor was fine, but it was because they comboed incorrectly and gave me room to figure it out. But I don't need a lot of that. I think Veto, Farewell, Rest in Peace are all better. This isn't really an aggressive strategy, not in the traditional sense. Right, I think I'm cool with where this is now. The sweepers are really the big stuff. Farewell, getting rid of artifacts and creatures, is probably lights out in this matchup. Okay, I am on the draw, of course, because I won game 1. I'm going to keep this. It's a little chunky, and my white source comes into play tapped, but it does have the Supreme Verdict, which is a card that's very important to me. Ringleaf Drum, okay. Irrigated Farmland and pass. What do we got? Is it the Kinnan? It is. So Kinnan, and then they get 2 mana off Springleaf Drum if they want it. Okay. Giving me a chance to remove Kinnan. I'll take it. I have to pitch a white card here. I could also just pass. Like I can Dovin's Veto a non-creature, and I can Supreme Verdict a creature. Yeah, maybe I'm chilling. Looking forward to Dovin's vetoing a card this turn. Do I hit literally anything with Veto? And this card is worth a lot of mana. Alright, I'm going to get aggressive here. There's 2 cards left in their hand. I'm about to untap into Absorb, which I now understand can be cast with white, blue, blue. But also just zap Kinnan here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they're pretty far away. I'm not going to zap Kinnan because good chance I'll be able to sweep it up in a Supreme Verdict anyway. And if they just don't do anything, I can cycle Shark Typhoon and get a card deeper. Mox Amber, that's a lot of mana very quickly, but I have the Absorb. Okay, and then put Gigantha in hand. All right, they remember they have a companion in this game. That's unlucky for me. Playing around the Aganjo. That was smart. I did pick off their Emery with it last game. All right, got the land. That's important. Veto and... I'm going to shock in. I don't think my life total is the relevant metric in this matchup at all. If they don't do anything, I'm going to cycle Shark Typhoon and just make a bigger shark. Mana, is this Jaggy? Oh, where are we going? Are we activating Kinnan? Okay, that makes sense. Wow, another whiff. Does this deck even play cards that can be like found off Kinnan? I've changed my mind. I was going to make a shark, but if they're just going to like pass the turn with nothing going on, I'm going to zap Kinnan or on my easy answer to Kinnan, of course. Attack for 1. I could portable hole, Springleaf Drum, Mox Opal, or just wait until like a real thing happens. Yeah, I'm just going to wait till a real thing happens. We know Jeggy's in hand. Another Kinnan. Okay. That's a good reason to hang on to the hole. Courier's Briefcase. Sure. I'm going to make the shark here. Like, this Supreme Verdict is in my hand, but I can answer Kinnan cleanly. I would like to hit land drops, which means seeing extra cards where I can. All right, cool. Found a good land drop. And I'm going to portable hole the Kinnan. And then attack for 3. Got Absorb and Dovin's Veto up. Well, Absorb or Dovin's Veto up. And next turn, I can TEFERI and hold up Veto. Or if I find a land, I'm holding up Absorb instead. I will absorb a Jeggy here if that hits the stack. Don't care about that one. No attacks, no action. I don't have enough mana to activate Castle Vantress. Nothing to do with my mana, so I'm just going to draw. Another Absorb. Okay, now I'm holding up Absorb and Veto while attacking for 3, and they're doing very little. And now if they don't do anything, I can Castle Vantress and start smoothing out my draws. I actually wasn't going to risk passing on the double counter spell when I'm so far ahead by playing TEFERI. Okay, Jag, white, blue, blue. Counter that. Sorry, Rebel. Rebel is an EDH content creator, member of the CAG, who loves Gigantha, by the way. Who I think watches many of my videos. Okay. Opponents at 7. They're actually dying pretty quick to these sharks, and I'm just holding up this wall of counter spells. Karn. I'm going to veto that. Absorb can get anything, and their deck does have creatures I care about. So use the veto where you can, even though it's cheaper. Okay, game 1, kind of a weird punt fest where I didn't know what my spell did, and then my opponent forgot they had a companion. But game 2 was a really clean execution of just stuff the things they're doing, hit your land drops, hold up counter magic, and kill your opponent with sharks. Good shit. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and every other format you'll see on this channel. They have multiple customizations so you can view your deck how you want. Text view, stacks, grid, custom grouping by type, subtype, color, light mode, dark mode. However you want to see your deck, they can provide it for you. My favorite feature is you can choose your set printing, make the deck look exactly how you want it to. The deck screen features expandable sections that show you what tokens your deck makes, your recent change history to the deck, stats about mana curve and opening hand distribution, mana cost distribution. You can deal out sample hands and even play test the deck. Island Ponder. You know I'm keeping this one. This site has everything. Follow me on Moxfield.com to keep up with decks I'm playing for the channel and what I'm up to in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round number 2 with kind of an awkward hand. I have the turn 2 Censor, but my mana does not support it. I am going to keep the hand. I think leading on Deserted Beach is better, because Glacial Fortress can unlock, but I guess any land unlocks Deserted Beach. Yeah, okay, Glacial Fortress is the better one to lead on. Because I would have to draw an island or plains to unlock untap Glacial Fortress turn 3, but literally any land unlocks Deserted Beach turn 3. That's what that card does. What is this, a mirror match? Okay. Bummer, but also, we hit the land drop. So we're in there. Please don't do anything messed up that I would want to censor. Okay, Portable Hole can answer that. I'm not going to cycle the Censor because I can play Deserted Beach and then Portable Hole the Shredder, and I'm still holding up Censor. I'd like to cycle Censor this turn to hit a land drop. I'd cycle this. Found a land. All I want in my life is land drops in blue-white mirrors. And I got the next land lined up to start activating Castle Vantress. This is clearly a very different deck than what I'm doing, even if we do appear to have a similar mana base. They have Ledger Shredder and Consider in the deck. Those are not cards that are even close to being in my deck. Just keep making land drops. I'm going to keep the Ottawara in my hand as long as I can. Another end step Consider. And kept the card again. They shocked in Hallowed Fountain, then didn't use it, so clearly they got something going on over there with their mana. I'm going to Castle Vantress in the end step. See if I get punished for this. Right, Fateful Absence doesn't seem important, and Irrigated Farmland. I would only keep Irrigated Farmland in order to cycle it, and just bottoming it is better. The other Fateful Absence, Moto Bug confirmed. Starting next turn? No, 2 turns from now, they could just start ramming in on all the Storm Giants. But I have Fateful Absence and can easily pay for the ward. Yeah, no worries there. If they are like a creature slanted build of blue-white, my hand is very good at answering creatures. If they are a control version of blue-white, I have Castle Vantress and they don't. Adakar Waste. Oh, right. That's in the format now. Should that be in my deck? I don't even know. Yeah, that's in Dominaria United. All right, I'm going to put Absorb on the bottom and Glacial Fortress on top. Don't know how many Absorbs I'm going to need in a match, but I would like to find a way to push some advantage here. Like a Wandering Emperor would be ideal. Shark Typhoon's actually the nuts. That one's not even a spell. I'm slightly worried about non-creature threats, though. Oh, we're doing this. Okay, +1/+1 and prevent all damage. I can march this thing in the end step. I'm sure they have ways to protect it, but also I got a ton of answers. Okay, march in the end step, exiling nothing, blue-white, and I can still activate Vantress. Anything they do to protect this thing is a spell they don't have later. Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to Vantress. I got these Supreme Verdicts. I'm chilling. Vantress, Portable Hole, and Absorb. I'm going to bottom Absorb and put Portable Hole on top. Holy moly. I'm looking at this Adakar Waste and just trying to think if it's better than Deserted Beach or Glacial Fortress, and it's probably not. The games go long. I've activated Castle Vantress 3 times already. I spend a lot of mana, and a lot of it's colored, so I guess you're weighing the balance of curving out versus like curving out more often versus taking a non-zero amount of damage from your lands in the late game. And the deck does care about both, so kind of tight. Slip out the back. What if can I interest you in a Fateful Absence? Phasing out is awkward because now I can't follow up with the Fateful Labs or with the Supreme Verdict. I'm actually just going to let this slip out the back. Go ahead. I'm a white mana short of being able to enjoy Fateful Absence with Absorb backup. But I can take a hit here and poke it with Absence in the end step. Homestead Courage. +1 counter on target creature you control against Vig. Right, so they're going in pretty hard on this thing, which is what the deck does. 3 cards left in hand. Not going to block. See if they have any more tricks. I'm just going to take my 8. 8's really not that much damage when we're talking about a long control game. Maybe I should have let on Supreme Verdict because slip out the back gets this thing out of play until their next turn where I can't verdict it either. Okay, it's just gone. That was fortunate. Didn't expect that to happen. The Wandering Emperor. Okay, we are gassed up with a Absorb and a Wandering Emperor now. They are ready to go into the Hall of Storm Giants, though. If they decide to just start elbow tapping and getting in. Storm Chaser Drake. Target of a spell you control, draw a card. Sure. I'm going to test the waters with a Wandering Emperor in the end step. See if they have a counter spell for this. Giant Strike in response. Alright, so they're going to try to draw a bunch of cards. That's a cool card. I'm going to make a 1/1 Vig. I am likely to Supreme Verdict this turn anyway. Well, let's do some damage. They like commit any pump spells into a block, then that's good for me. Still a mana source short of where I'd like to be. White mana source. I don't want to mess around with a flyer. God's willing. This does not protect it. It does draw a card, though. They don't have another threat. Okay. And I'm going to make a Samurai after combat here. This can at least block Hall of Storm Giants if it has to. And I do have enough mana to Wandering Emperor and exile Hall of Storm Giants and pay the ward cost next turn if I need to. Comes a Treasure Cruise, probably. Yep. That's a good card. Firing up the Hall. Let's go in face or Emperor. Go in face. 7/7 Blue Giant. Yes. No additional words on that one, so I'm going to block it. Come on, untap White Source. Censor. Censor's kind of interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Word 3, right? Yes. Okay. All right, I'll delete my Wandering Emperor and make another soldier or samurai, whatever these things are. The Hall is firing up. There's so much mana available right now. I'm going to make my block again. I'll see if they want to spend more mana this turn, like play another creature or something. You got more? End step, Wandering Emperor. I'm going to try to exile this Hall of Storm Giants. I definitely feel this game slipping away. That Treasure Cruise was big. I haven't done anything that's pulls me ahead, like no TEFERI, any such nonsense. Going after the Hall, any protection spell works here. And I have to tap out for ward before I do anything else. Yeah, that's fine. At least it was used. Okay, that gets to stay alive. Shark Typhoon, we like those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another Supreme Verdict. Make a 2/2. Just deleting my creature again. Or my Planeswalker again. And these Wandering Emperors have like been responsible for gaining a ton of life, effectively. I'm going to block again. Ledger Shredder. Bummer. No counterspell available for that one. Cast a 1-drop. Give me that censor. Oh, shocked in. I'm going to make a 1/1 shark in the end step. Or should I cycle censor? No, I think I want to get the creature into play. I don't think I'm going to get an opportunity to make like a 5/5 shark that's big enough to tangle with Ledger Shredder anyway. So I'm going to just make the 1/1 while my mana is around. All right, considering gets a Ledger Shredder activation. Knived away a Spell Pierce. Found another white source and another. They're past the point where I wanted these. I'm going to cycle Censor. I don't think it's solving anymore. March, okay. March is pretty dope. White, colorless. Try to get rid of this Ledger Shredder. They're back down to 3 cards in hand, even after a Treasure Cruise and all the selection they've had. Like, this... We're showcasing the grindiness of this blue-white deck and nothing else. All right, the back. They can have a Connive here. I think it's time to absorb. Like, I'm treading water against the 1 creature they have, and I'm not going to be okay if they have 2. Pretty sure there's Field of Ruins in this deck, right? Yeah, there's 2 of them. My Ottawar is already in play. Yeah, this Hall of Storm Giant's just dominating. Come on, Field of Ruin. Oh no, the Storm Chaser. Defiant Strike. Yeah, they're just going in on around a bunch of cards now. There's Storm Chaser Drake again. White. 1, 2. This card's a 2-drop? Jeez. It's a powerful spell. Alright, please don't have a protection spell. How about that? Play a lot of those protection spells, though. Would not surprise me if they had one. Shore Up. +1/+1 and Hexproof. Okay. Got me. I think I should play my land. Like, oh, I just clicked into my end step while I was talking about playing my land. There's nothing to bluff here. They're going to attack me. And having 1 extra mana next turn in a situation where I don't have to shock it in might be relevant. Yeah, I should have played my land. It doesn't matter if they know the shields are down. Like, they already know they got me on the ropes. Continue the relentless beatdown with the Hall. And I'm just taking the full amount of damage here. Okay, now officially dead to a single hit from Hall, which means that I need to answer the Hall first and then the creature, which is not the order that I'd like to do that in. Try to Portable Hole and Wandering Emperor. Bottom, I guess I'll keep the Wandering Emperor, but I don't feel good about it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1. Yep. If I had played the Hallowed Fountain last turn, I would be able to play around Spell Pierce right now. Now I'm not able to do that. Here's the Hall. Slip out the back doesn't work because their creature's not attacking me anymore, but any other protection spell is fine. Hey, look, they even fucking had it. Oh my god, I deserve everything that's happening to me. Could have played around this, decided not to. Well, didn't really decide, just like misclicked into not doing it. Okay, I can be at 8 versus this Hall of Storm Giants. Any pump spell, any protection spell wins the game. Okay. Oh, right, because I don't gain the life. Yeah. All right, that also works. Yep. Died to a Spell Pierce that I could have played around. I mean, they have 4 cards in their hand. No guarantee that this would have worked anyway, but would have had a better chance. Let Spell Pierce be on turn 15 when it didn't need to be. Okay. Against a deck like this, Settle the Wreckage looks relevant. Knockout Blow, 4 damage to target attacker, blocking creature, and you gain 2 life. Cost you less if a target's red. Probably not, but maybe. Narset actually looks kind of cracked here. Hullbreaker Horror. I mean, this is a lot of mana, but it's uncounterable and it's a giant body. I think putting bodies and getting engines into play against this deck are more important than having removal spells. Like, you want both, but like we saw that game, I removed a lot of things. We worked our way through a treasure cruise and still like they just kept nickel and diming. Farewell should probably be in too. Is Farewell a trap? Like, it's a 6 mana thing that if they play careful, they're not going to be like dumping creatures onto the board because I'm a Supreme Verdict deck anyway. All right, I'm not bringing in Farewell. Shark Typhoon's good. Quarry Disruption seems sus. Absorb like seems like both good and terrible at the same time. Maybe Mystical Dispute is a bridge too far. But countering Slip out the back or Shore Up on the cheap is nice. Do I just like cut all my sensors for all these things? Memory Deluge, a little chonky here, but it's the type of card that I need to pull ahead. I don't think we cut Deluge. March Hole Verdict. Yeah, I like all these things. All right. I'm going to cut and absorb. Like, maybe this is my legacy player brain kicking in and the rules aren't the same for Pioneer, but I think that like playing to the board in matchups where they can counter your 3 and 4 and 5 mana thing for 1 mana while drawing a card in a lot of cases is a bad deal. So I'm just going to try to play to the board with Efficient Answers. I'm going to keep this hand. It has the answer to the Hall. I'm ready. Now I have to decide if Irrigated Farmland is going to be a cycle or an Island Plains this turn, or this game. If I'm going to ever play it, I should do it now, because it's free. But it's also possible with 4 lands in my hand already, I'm going to want to cycle this thing. I think I'm going to hang back and make it a cycle. I'm going to lead on a tapped Hallowed Fountain and pass a turn. With the powerful Island go. Okay. Second Irrigated Farmland, definitely cycling the first one. Consider in the end step. Binning a Homestead Courage. Oh, that's card advantage. That card has flashback. Powerful synergies. Cycling the bonus land. Ooh. Oh, are you holding up Mystical Dispute, you sicko? Don't really want to get disputed. I want to be undisputed. I think this farmland I'm going to play as a land. So I could also just... I'm actually going to jam Narset. Go ahead, dispute me. Now that I have Teferi in hand, like, there's better targets for dispute. And if this somehow resolves, like, a large number of their engines are shut off. All right, it's fine. Spell Pierce has occurred. Look at my hand. It's full of 4 and 5 mana spells. Spell Pierce was going to get me. Giant Strike. Okay. Drawing a card right away. Makes sense. I'm going to march this thing. Is a 2-drop. They don't currently have mana up. And since I drew a different tap land, I'm going to put Hall of Storm Giants into play now. That card never cycles, and Irrigated Farmland still might. We'll see where this goes. Did I want Rest in Peace versus their Treasure Cruises? Is that like what that card is for? Yeah, they also just like flashed back that Homestead Courage. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's an angle I had not properly considered. All right, I'm going to play Farmland and pass. I might have to offer this Wandering Emperor up on the altar of cheap interaction in exchange for a chance at Teferi next turn. Okay, after blocks, after attacks. So it's already attacking me. Can't attack Emperor. So they'll have to protect this thing or counter Emperor. Emperor resolved. That must be a protection spell. Which one, though? Tell me more. Shore Up. Okay, it's the one that deals 4 damage to me instead of the one that deals 0 damage to me. Also untaps the creature, which is funny. Good thing it's already hexproof and that didn't matter. Wait, oh, come on, Supreme Verdict. It's time. Castle Ardenvale. That's not what I wanted. Castle, get in. I'm going to cast a fairy around Spell Pierce here. Oh, wait, nope. It's not around Spell Pierce. I got to cast a fairy, though. I got to get something going. If it's countered, it's countered. Right there. Trying to cantrip into a counter spell here. Fairy's in. I don't think I want to tuck. I think I want to plus. Just start finding more cards, finding more action. I'll make a Samurai to block the Hoplite. Unfortunately, no, there is a Defiant Strike +1 on Storm Chaser right now, so they need to put 2 power on Storm Chaser to kill Teferi. Treasure Cruise, okay. I mean, sucks, but okay. But I can't do anything about it. All right, putting an attack on Teferi. Please let it still be in play. All right, Teferi's sticking around. You're saying there's a chance. Games where you're plussing Teferi and games where you're not plussing Teferi are just completely different animals. Plus Teferi. Multiple portable holes. Okay, I will start with this one. Sucks that this is not an instant, so like I can't respond with another removal spell if they protect this thing. God's willing, yeah. That just gives it pro white for the duration. Which means that I am losing Teferi this turn. Do I want to try to portable hole the Hoplite or save this for next turn, taking another crack at Drake? I can't activate Hall with the mana I have. That costs 6. I can activate Castle Ardenvale. I think I need to save this hole for the Drake. That card is not beatable. Alright, I'm going to play the beach. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a 1/1. And then in the end step, I get to untap 2 lands. And I'm representing a counterspell that I totally don't have, but it's represented. Okay. I'm losing Teferi this turn. That was the big shot. But I do have a portable hole. Teferi was good for 2 cards and 6 life here. Ledger Shredder. Come on, Supreme Verdict. Show up, please. There's so many of you in this deck. Wandering Emperor. Okay. Portable hole. Target the Drake. Defiant Strike. That doesn't save it. It just draws 2 cards. Flip out the back. Does save it. Playing Wandering Emperor gives them a second Connive. But it's okay. I think this is my chance to go after this card. I'm playing around Spell Pierce. And Wandering Emperor resolves. Or they counter it. Also an option. Mystical Dispute. Oh, fuck. My land sitting in my hand. Alright. Alright. I deserve it. Can't pay for that. Could have, but didn't. Yeah, I was playing around Spell Pierce. Didn't respect Mystical Dispute. The usual. Just play your lands, people. What are you doing? Alright, now I'll play the sad post-combat land. Staggering Insight. Wow. Yep, staggering indeed. Go nuts. I already couldn't beat this board. Defiant Strike. Okay, and a Connive. I need a Supreme Verdict, and even that slip out the back bricks. And I might just die this turn if they just storm off on me. Another Staggering Insight. So this is going to hit me for 7, and they draw 2 cards. Discarding a hand size sucker. Yeah, I think maybe I'm supposed to have Rest in Peace. Just respect the Treasure Cruise. If they're cruising and I'm not, then the game gets hard. If I'm answering 1 for 1 and they're not recouping, then the game becomes playable. That's not a Supreme Verdict. All right. Some little mistakes were made there. Some format unfamiliarity stuff came up. That feels like it's got to be a bad matchup, though. Like between the creature land, slip out the back, dodging, Supreme Verdict, and the millions of tempo spells to like fake counter or actual counter your interaction, this feels like it would be really tough. On to the next one. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. On the draw for round 3, I will keep this hand. It's got lands and interaction. Let's go. We have a Maya Coast. Arboreal Grazer. Oh, this is the Lotus Field deck. I'm going to play Hallowed Fountain tapped. And pass a turn. Oh, is this not Lotus Field? Like, what's going on here? Okay, I don't know what's happening right now. I'm not too proud to admit. I don't know what's going on. And all of these are like land ramp things, and I guess the World Tree. Oh, okay. As long as you have 6 or more lands, they all have to have add any color. Or double Wooburg. Sacrifice the World Tree, search a library for any number of gods. All right, so this is some sort of insane nonsense that we're playing against here. I don't think Censor is going to find a target at this point. They've ramped twice. Okay, pass a turn. I hope Supreme Verdict is good. Golos. Yeah, that makes sense. Can't answer it. Pulled out another World Tree. Okay. They're down to 1 card in hand, though. I hope Supreme Verdict is good here. They do seem to be storing up a lot of their action in creatures. Ooh, Field of Ruin. Unfortunately, they just came up with the 2nd World Tree. Put those away. What's left? Pass in the turn. Deal. Is this a counterspell deck? What would they have in their hand that they didn't cast? I'm going to play a Ganjo into TEFERI. TEFERI's just in there. Okay, cool. Drawing cards. Let's go. Well, that was scary for a minute, and then we somehow won. Pioneer is crazy. Okay, so we've got this World Tree strategy. Exile all lands is not a mode on Farewell, unfortunately. What a world. Bring back horrible Magic design. Return target non-land permanent. Jeez. People hate when you go after lands. Exile all of their spells and counter all abilities. I mean, that can counter the World Tree, if that's what I'm worried about. I don't even really know what this deck is trying to do. Exile all creatures and enchantments. That does remove some large number of gods from play if the World Tree pops, but also I doubt I'll get a turn to do that. I don't know. Portable Hull doesn't seem great. Like, I don't want to spend a card on Arboreal Grazer. Dream Trawler is the type of thing that can pull ahead. Yeah, I'll bring in the Summary Dismissal. This is like the card in the deck that's like, whatever you're doing, just stop. I'm not having it. And I don't think I want Hullbreaker or a Golos deck. What does that mean for me? And I guess Narset. When in doubt, put Dig Through Time in your pile. Which is funny because Dig Through Time's literally legal. This hand does some stuff. I'll keep it. This one's definitely playing Irrigated Farmland as a land, though. I'm not set up to do anything else. Play the farmland and pass. And I'm going to play Field of Ruin because it's untapped and I can censor or Jwari Disruption. I guess Disruption's a better one to lead on. This is Pilgrimage. I'm countering this. I'm just going to read it first. Search your library for 2 forests, reveal those and put 1 onto the battlefield and the rest into your hand. Spell Mastery, get 3 instead. I'm going to Jwari Disrupt this, because if I don't, I will never disrupt anything again. And Censor can cycle for a real card later. Dwyer Disruption is always a tap land, and in my hand that has plenty of lands in it, I don't need that. Here's Field of Ruin, make an absorb, not a thing I can cast. Yeah, let's censor that too. They just snap conceded to the censor. No ramp, no problem. GTFO. Let's keep this rolling. That was a nice little 6-minute match with blue-white control. Let's do more of that. On the draw in round 4 against a Giganta deck. I'm going to keep this handful of creature interaction against this Giganta pile. See what we're working with. Dagoth Triome. Okay. Irrigated Farmland. This hand is trying to do 4 and 6 mana stuff. I'm just going to play the Farmland tapped right now where it's not hurting anybody. I'm not going to worry about cycling that thing. Ooh. Blood Crypt and Zagoth Triome. This is a deck of many colors. Now all my lands are unlocked. I have the Plains Island to hold down any of the check lands. I have 2 lands for Deserted Beach. We're in the zone here. About Absorb. All right, Wandering Emperor is not bad. I can cycle Shark Typhoon if I just want to get something going here. But my opponent is officially 1000 color control. All right, just aggressively spewing off K command for deal 2 and discard a card. Okay. I think I'll discard Farewell. Just a 6 mana spell, and I'm not sure what's going on here. There's a really aggressive use of Kolaghan's Command. But yeah, this is a Niv deck for sure. Gigantha's in the grip. I would really like to find an Absorb on the top 2 cards in my deck right now. Shark Typhoon found Portable Hole. That's not what I wanted. Okay. And neither is that Supreme Verdict. But there is a Jeggy in hand. If they cast Gigantha this turn, I can Wandering Emperor in the end step, and then Supreme Verdict. They could also just slam TEFERI here. Or not TEFERI, Niv, whatever their deck is. The namesake of their deck, that card. Gigantha resolves begrudgingly. End of turn. Wandering Emperor. I gotta decide if I'm gonna Supreme Verdict or not. Because if I am, then I just shouldn't minus. I'm gonna plus. And then Supreme Verdict and make a new creature. In for 2. Having 2 of these verdicts in hand just makes me a little more comfortable spewing one of them off like this. But they did just get the go-ahead to resolve Niv Mizzet. Omnath. Okay. Yeah, that sucks. Powerful card. Good thing there's no fetch lands in this format. Vanishing Verse. Okay. Got rid of my thing that I was barely using anyway. I really want to get TEFERI into play, but I also really don't want to play against this Omnath. 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. I would have 2 mana. That's not enough to Arden Veil. And they're mostly just gaining life, right? They had Mammoth meme, right? Okay. I'm going to get TEFERI into play. Like we talked about last game, like the games where you have TEFERI in play versus the games where you just don't are totally different. I don't want to tuck the Omnath because this deck is full of potent spells, and like redrawing the Omnath, maybe even this turn, if they just draw it, is pretty annoying. And like TEFERI doesn't even die here unless they have another damage spell on top of this. We've seen Kolaghan's Command, but they spewed that one off really early. If they have another one, then congrats, but I bet they wish it was in their hand right now. All right, there's the Niv. I have Supreme Verdict lined up. This is why I invested into TEFERI for a turn. All right, so we got Vanishing Verse, Bring to Light. That was actually a pretty bad Niv. It revealed 2 Bring to Lights and a Vanishing Verse. Okay. The Vanishing Verse is a problem if I don't find a counter spell, like right now, deck, right now, Absorb. Memory Deluge, interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gotta clear the creatures. And I'll play my Glacial Fortress and pass the turn. Untap 2 lands. I'm probably losing TEFERI to Vanishing Verse here. And they have enough mana to Verse and Bring to Light. Oh, was that Dreadbore? I just deleted that. I thought it was a I thought it was a basic land. I didn't even notice that was a magic card. Okay, there was a Dreadbore in that pile too. I thought it was a Kamigawa basic land. But I guess this deck wouldn't have basic lands in it, right? And they're just fearlessly going for the Bring to Light. Makes sense. I got nothing else. Do you just get another Niv, or is there a bigger like juke here that can crush me? Oh, yep, Valky. That counts. Well, not sure what my plan is for this one. There was not enough mana up to deluge into anything helpful. Hallowed Fountain, Sulfur Falls exiled off Valky, so mostly a whiff there. Sucks that the backside of Valky has its own mana cost, because a lot of the times with flip cards, the backside is the cost of the front side, but it's not a flip card, it's a DFC. Works a little different. I went for the power move of shocking in my own Hallowed Fountain. If I get Mystical Disputed here, I'm going to lose my mind. Okay. Memory Deluge. Otawara actually does answer Tibalt, kind of. And I guess I want the other Memory Deluge, or do I want Hall of Storm Giants and just bring the pain? Exile target artifact or creature. Exile target monocolored permanent. Hall of Storm Giants doesn't have any colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can just replay this thing too. All is a 7/7 though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I want Deluge and Otawara. I can use all my mana to do those two things. At least got that going for me. Absorb right on time, you asshole. It's actually fine because I can Otawara the Tibalt and then counter it on the way back down. Okay, in the upkeep, I'm going to bounce Tibalt. Boing. Kind of hope they elbow tap for that and don't have a discard spell or a counter spell. Like Dovin's Veto and Thought Erasure are both cards that could be in this deck, and they would make sense with Niv. All right, let's try it. White, blue, blue. Can we get there? Do you have Dovin's Veto? Nope. We survived. They drew 2 cards for a total of 12 mana. I can live in that world. I can deluge from the graveyard and have 2 mana up, or deluge from hand with 5 mana up if I need to respond to something. All right. I'm going to let the Bring to Light resolve, and if I have to counter something, because Bring to Light lets you cast another spell, it doesn't like put the thing into play. Okay, the Scarab God. What do I want to do about that? Find and absorb, I hope. Censor, cool. All right, Censor and Glacial Fortress to my hand. And I'm going to cycle the Censor. And draw Absorb. Wandering Emperor. All right, I mean, she's not totally embarrassing, but I guess it's too late now because there's going to be copies of Niv Mizzet in play. Yeah, this is not a winnable game. Well, if anyone can win a game, I guess it's Teferi. I guess we'll keep playing begrudgingly. 3, 4, 5. Play Teferi. Teferi can tuck Scarab God, and in response, they can regrow Niv Mizzet, which will redraw the Scarab God. I don't like any of this, but this at least gives me like a world where Wandering Emperor can do anything. Yep, there's the Niv. Okay, so Niv doesn't come in. All these lands don't. There's a Growth Spiral, a Nahiri the Harbinger, and Yasharn. Plus the Vanishing Verse we already knew about. Here comes the Niv attack that the Wandering Emperor will chew up. I would like to exile target tapped creature. Okay. That's handled. Leyline Binding. 1 mana Leyline Binding. That's hot. These portable holes looking so bad right now. And there's other matchups where they're essential, but wow, I can't wait to get these out of my deck. Here's Nahiri. Discarded Extinction Event. And Wandering Emperor is coming up soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Time to deluge. Pay out my investment. With 2 Censors and 2 March of Otherworldly Lights. Yuck. In Censor, I can cycle into a redraw. I could take the 2 Censors, try to cycle, or I guess March has text. All right, I'll take the 2 marches, though I'm not excited about it. Oh, I can, oh, maybe I should be excited about this, actually. Hold on. These portable holes just got some text. I can go, they just spent the Vanishing Verse. I can March of Otherworldly Light this Leyline Binding, pitching these 2 portable holes. Or that's, okay. That was a good find. Figured that one out right on time. There's TEFERI. I'm going to just draw a card, try to spike Absorb, because we know it's time for the Wandering Emperor. Oh, another Leyline Binding. I mean, that's fine. Like, that doesn't change any of my play that was trying to find the answer to Scarab God. Okay, go ahead. There's not another Niv Mizzet in the graveyard. There is a Gigantha and an Omnath. And Nahiri is ready to pop off and pull a Niv Mizzet out of the deck as well. Yeah, just main phase, get Omnath here. Makes sense. You can draw your card. Oh, there is a basic land in this deck. Wild. Fucking Absorb. Always right on time. Alright, so what do I need here? Like Supreme Verdict, just to even pretend to have a chance. Fateful Absence. I guess I'll take that. And Exile destroys. And March or another Wandering Emperor. I guess it's another March. And then I'll Fateful Absence. Not the Scarab God, the Nahiri. I'm going to do it on their turn. They can Scarab God again. Nope, 1 mana short of Scarab God again in the end step. I'm doing this on their turn so they don't get to crack the clue for free in the end step. Oh right, there's a Yasharn in the deck. There's a reason to have basic planes. Yeah, I don't have any creature cards in my hand. Nice try, Valky. Guess I can F6 now because I've seen my hand. And I could march something at the cost of multiple cards in my hand, but I don't think that's the play. I take 9 from combat here. Still pretty interested in a Supreme Verdict. So I've used 2 of them already. Bring to light. Okay. What are we bringing? It's Laughter Games. Okay. Yeah, I guess. If you name March of Otherworldly Light, take 2 cards out of my hand. You could name TEFERI, but I've used both of them already. I don't know. Have fun. Yeah, okay. Just took the 2 lights out of my hand. I could have like spewed them off. Like if I spew off my whole hand to cast that spell, then they don't get taken from my hand, but then they're out of my hand and so is everything else. I don't like it. Oh. Okay. There's a thing I wanted. Wandering Emperor, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exile the Scarab God. That one keeps coming back, and I don't want it to. Finishing Verse in response. Yeah, that's fine. As long as your jerk's gone. I'm fine if my jerk's gone too. And I drew Supreme Verdict, and you know I'm holding Absorb. Let's go. This game continues somehow. Right, they got Yasharn and 2 mystery cards in hand. Plus the clue I gave them that they just cracked. Cycling Zatara's Proving Ground. Okay. Deal. I'm not countering Yasharn. My deck is full of ways to interact with a big dumb 4/4. Including the Castle Ardent Vale that's face up in play already. Can't spend Absorb on that when I know there are real cards in the deck. Cycled another Triome. Played the Forest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make a 1/1. Block. Trying to manage my clock here. I am up 2 minutes and starting to pull back into this game. Wow. Wow. You could be a big pig too. Ooh. Okay. I said this game is unwinnable multiple times, but I have proven myself wrong. We're kind of ahead here. I mean, they're working with perfect information and I'm not, but like, I'm making tokens and holding up Absorb. Like, this is starting to happen. I am the aggressor now. +1 counter. Attack you. All right, I have millions of lands in play. I'm going to start representing 2 pieces of interaction. Red Boar, that's fine. That's not where I point my counter spells right now. What is this? Exile Selfless Glyph Weaver. Creatures you control gain indestructible. Okay, it's a 2/3. Sure. You can have a 2/3 creature. What's the backside? Use a creature or planeswalker, then destroy all other. Okay. Okay, it's like a 2/3 with a Wrath on it. Sure. Make a 1/1. Jawari Disruption. Okay. I'll play my land now. Jawari Disruption, pretty bad. Would much rather have Censor here. Both of my memory deluges have been spent already. My Teferi's in exile. My marches are gone that can't exile the Leyline anymore. Wonder if I can actually win this game in 21 cards. Okay, I'm gonna make another 1/1 and triple block. No, that doesn't make any sense. This doesn't have lifelink, does it? No, okay. No. I'm just winning this race. Let's go. I'm not gonna walk myself into getting wrathed by a fatal push. Portable hole. Okay. Remains terrible. Oh, no attack. They realize they're not winning the race. End step, make another one. Deserted Beach, bummer. Pass a turn. Really, they just need to find like 2 big spells on the same turn. They got plenty of mana. If they have like 2 must counters in a turn, I am dead. They're also down to 15 cards in their deck. Like, can I deck them? Sylvan Caryatid. That is worth a lot of damage that I don't get to do to my opponent here. Okay. Another portable hole. Good stuff. Deck full of blank cardboard. They're just passing the turn again, making another soldier. Field of Ruin. I'm sure that I have more basics than they do. If anyone even has any. I suspect activating Field of Ruin would result in me being down 1 card in my deck and them being down 0 cards in their deck. And have no other impact on the game. Censor. I am actually not going to cycle that one. I'm just going to pass the turn. Because I think decking is live here. And I don't think there's anything else I'd rather have. All right, the second Absorb. Feeling really good about that. Yeah, we're in the decking space now. This is genuinely... I am genuinely delighted with where this game is going. Not just because I'm winning it, but this is exactly the type of Magic that I enjoy playing. Just the inexorable tide of 1/1s. Fateful Absence. I don't really want to give my opponent a card, but also I like the idea of attacking. I still got my 2 absorbs up. Back with all my creatures. And clock is a consideration here. Corrupt Decay. Yeah, sure. Deal. And you take 8 or 7. Cool. You're dead on board. Go. Cycling Raffine's Tower. 8 cards left in the deck. Niv Mizzet Reborn. Let's counter that. This is the Absorb they knew about. There's another one they don't. Deafening Clarion. I don't care about that. I'm still winning this game. I have creatures, you don't. I have Castle Ardenvale, you don't. And I have more cards in deck than you. Okay, sure. And you're Hellbent. Cool. Maybe I should stop making creatures and just play to the decking. Yeah, I'm gonna just pass the turn here. There's 1 Absorb left in my deck, and I can cycle for it twice if I need to. Yeah, they're just aggressively cycling. Is there a way to recycle their deck? Because if there is, then that's my win con. Wait, I'm just going to draw. Play Hallowed Fountain and pass. I'm just conserving clock for the other 2 games at this point. Like, in paper, you should be making castle tokens and actually trying to push damage. Another Niv, another Absorb. Okay, and they conceded with the 5th Niv in the graveyard? Oh, wow. I did not think we were winning that game. I said the words out loud. This game just became unwinnable probably 3 times, and then we won it. Good stuff. Portable Hole, get the hell out of my deck, please. I like Dream Trawler. I like Veto. Probably better than Dispute. Dispute hits Niv in the early game, but Veto always hits the payoffs, and it hits Bring to Light. Rest in peace. My memory delusions were pretty important in that game, but so were their... I guess all they really had was Scarab God. And Farewell does a pretty good job with that. Settle, dispute, dismissal. Yeah, just more answers to their big stuff at the top end. Hullbreaker Horror can turn the corner pretty quick, but I don't think I need to turn the corner. As we saw, if you survive what they're doing, Castle Ardenvale can win the game. I'm going to get rid of Jwari Disruption and Censor. Or I only need to get rid of one of those. Just the Jwari Disruption. Keep the Censors. They can cycle. Or do I want to get rid of Censor for a Settle? Yeah, that's another way to stay alive. And staying alive is all you got to do. I will keep my hand. It's got good mana and an Absorb. I'm up 1.5 minutes and a game on the clock. Thoughtseize, yep. Have a look at my handful of good cards. I suspect Absorb is the take, but I don't know what's in their hand. I know Absorb is the card that I want. This is just the smorgasbord of the different things my deck offers. Some removal, some counters. Quick Fateful Absence, interesting. Ooh, not seeing Jobin's Veto is cool. They're going to think they can do what they want this turn. Is there a 3-drop that's worth just spiking on here? Oh, Smiter. Okay. Not that one. Oh, the Censor. That would have been the hit. Oh, no, never mind. Smiter can't be countered. JK. Just on Smiter beatdown. Okay. I'm going to cycle Censor. Really want the Supreme Verdict online. And I will pay the 2. This represents Wandering Emperor. Now they can put me in the spot where they can attack or not. Like, the attack is like, okay, take 4. And they make me decide if I want to leave up counter spells or removal. Luckily, Wandering Emperor kind of breaks that mold. All right, they just put Gigantha in hand. Okay. I don't think this deck's going to have Spell Pierce in it. Leyline Binding. Okay, in response, exile your creature. That's fine. Wandering Emperor was good for 2 cards and a removal spell. And gain 2 life, all without tapping out. And now we're... That, like, early game juke. The Thoughtseize taking Fateful Absence and then try to get in with the 4/4 was, like, a pretty cool thing to do. I'm going to veto. They've seen Veto, or they haven't seen Veto, so I'm giving them information here, but I really want this TEFERI around. Yeah, Thoughtseize is really good against control decks, as usual. Always has been. Ooh, TEFERI can tuck this thing. TEFERI, go tuck yourself. 2 cards left in their hand. We've seen Vanishing Verse and Dreadbore. This TEFERI might not belong for this world, but if it is, it's going to win the game. Gigantha. All right, Jeggy. That's not what you wanted, I don't think. Farewell plus TEFERI. Now I can Verdict and hold up either of my counter spells. Let's do this shit. This one feels a lot better than the first one did, because my deck's not full of portable holes. Yeah, they know I have Absorb and Summering Dismissal. They can't just cast spells, but they also can't not cast spells because they're going to lose. They do that. I'm going to cycle Censor here and play Hall of Storm Giants, and then I get to untap 2 lands, which is the number of tapped lands I have. And Hall of Storm Giants can win the game quickly from this spot if I choose to do it like that. Cycling Xander's Lounge. So the Scarab God's back in their hand at this point. I will counter it. No surprise there. Veil of Summer is not legal in this format, so don't have to think about that. And I'm going to cycle the farmland. I'm just pushing forward for ways to win now. And TEFERI's in play, so I have a way to win. I can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attack and hold up 2 mana. That's not what I want to do. Yeah, I'm just going to pass. The TEFERI ability is just not going to do anything. The untap. But Shark Typhoon can start bashing here. Bring to light. This is what Veto's for. And they scooped it up. That was a completely bonkers game 1, followed by the most textbook dismantling blue-white game possible in game 2. Just turn 5 TEFERI and plus, you're dead. Good shit. That was a really good match. On to the final round. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, Check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. On the draw for the final round, we went 2-0, 0-2, 2-0, 2-0. So it's something about polarized matchups, something. But this is a 4-1. The positive record's locked. I'm going to keep this, and we'll see which half of the format I'm playing against. Because every round I've played against so far, this hand would be great. But there are certainly matchups in the format that are like, you're dead if you keep a hand like this. So we'll see. Valakut Awakening, Fire Bluff Canal. Is this Phoenix? Have we found the fabled top deck of the format? I got some farmlands to cycle. Gotta say, it's really nice to just put your mana to work when you're not doing anything else. Get out of here. Now I have a Censor. I can cycle 2 cards this turn. I'd rather just censor a card. Like, tap out for some 4-drop. That'd be nice. Cycling Sweltering Suns, sure. Definitely some kind of large Izzet deck. It's either a slow start out of Phoenix, or this is like an Izzet control, or some sort of like top-end payout situation. I am going to cycle Censor. I feel like untapping into 5 mana. If they cast a 5-drop, I don't know, I guess they deserve it. Okay. Pass the turn. I think I want to go for Shark Typhoon here and not Wandering Emperor, because if they're holding up counter spells, I'll at least make them deal with this on a 2-for-1 basis. Not a whole lot of spells that can take care of the shark and the card in one hit. Big score. Okay, they're going to make 2 treasures in response. Okay, is this Creativity? Is Creativity a deck in Pioneer? I didn't even know if that was true. Okay, exile target non-land permanent. Yep, no rules about non-token. Right, I'm going to play my Iganjo and Portable Hull one of these treasures. That's gonna matter if it matters. Like if they're doing what I think they're doing. Fiery Impulse, sure. 2-for-1 all day. Passing the turn. Got some mana in the pool. What's going on here? Fable of the Mirror Breaker, sure. Okay, I'm gonna go for my Wandering Emperor here. There's just nothing else to do with the mana. And now that they've presented a creature, I'd like to interact. Make a 1-1. Or 2-2. -1, make a 2-2. There's a lot of lands. I will offer a combat. Don't want to trade their Gobbo. 1-1 Samurai with Vigilance. Or 2-2 Samurai, Jesus. I will pass the turn. I hope my opponent is more scared of my hand than they need to be. Just blue-white with 5 cards in hand. I know the feeling, but also I got nothing over here. Making the treasure. I'm gonna double block. Just make sure that this goblin is dead, even if they have a removal spell. I mean, Farewell is a pretty good follow-up. Even if they do combo off somehow here, Farewell kills most things. I just don't really know what this deck is capable of. This gap of format knowledge here. It looks like a modern deck that I'm familiar with. But that's the information that I have. Anger of the Gods, sure. That's a deal. I'm going to Castle Vantress in the end step. Lands work so hard in Pioneer, I love it. Bottom, the Plains. Do I want March of Otherworldly Light? Yeah, I guess. I'm certainly not like thrilled about it, but it's not embarrassing either. And I'm going to play my Field of Ruin. Pass here. Something's happening in the end step. Am I getting betrayed by Shark Typhoon? Or is it a big score? I am getting betrayed by Shark Typhoon. I thought we were friends. I can exile that for 1 white, though, if I need to. How important is my Wandering Emperor to me right now? I think the answer is not very. I'm going to let her go. She's done enough. Thank you for your service. In the end step, I'm going to activate Field of Ruin. Take out this Storm-Carved Coast, I guess. It all looks the same to me. Oh, mana's being floated. What's going on? Dig through time. All right, yeah. That's a good card. Fair enough. Acknowledged. Look at an island. There's one basic left. And this gives me Castle Vantress. Kind of hope they go for a big score right now, because I'm ready to mop up with Farewell. Exile creatures and artifacts. Yeah. And it is creativity, confirmed. Bottom both of these. How about a counterspell ever? Are those allowed? Fairy's pretty good. Cast this. Exile all artifacts and all creatures. Zap. Uh-oh, something's happening in response. A dig through time? Okay, another dig through time in response, sure. Might as well use this mana. It's disappearing quickly. And after the dig, my Farewell resolved. Cleared out all of that stuff. No more targets for creativity. They have enough mana at this point where they could make a treasure somehow and then creativity it all at once. But if they don't do that now, I am untapping into TEFERI time, which is my favorite time. There's Fable. I hope they go for the creativity because I actually have a removal spell. Like, they can creativity around a... Okay, never mind. I was about to say they could creativity around a daze effect, like my Jwari Disruptions and stuff, but the second Fable is gonna be the play instead. I'm gonna march one of these goblins right out of here, though. The full Prismatic Ending experience. 1 mana, remove a creature from play. Hey, another one. I like those. I am gonna shock in Hallowed Fountain and just give myself as much action as possible on this turn. I don't think there's a 1 mana counterspell for TEFERI with all this mana open in this format. All right, let's go TEFERI. Load up. Gas up, buddy. Okay. I like that. Untap 2 things. And now I can Wandering Emperor, exile the Goblin, or trade with the Goblin. I guess my life total isn't that important. And Otherworldly Light the treasure it would makes, or I could just Otherworldly Light the Goblin. I'm going to do that. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, let's light this jerk up. I mean, these are 2-for-1s and beyond. Like, I've spent 2 March of Otherworldly Lights on residual tokens made by a permanent that has generated other value. They did also only discard 1 card between their 4 opportunities to loot, so they like all 5 cards in their hand quite a bit right now. Gotta respect that possibility. Another Fable, okay. Do I think castling or emperoring is better right now? I think I want a castle. Yeah, just finding a sweeper or like finally a counterspell at any point. Right, Censor to the bottom, Deluge to the top. And then let's draw Deluge. Draw for turn. Or draw for TEFERI. My TEFERI turn. You know what I mean. Shock in a land, and I'm going to Deluge now. Because TEFERI's going to untap some lands anyway. See what I'm working with. Supreme Verdict and Censor. I'll take the cycle on Censor, I guess. And I'm going to hole the Goblin. And then pass the turn, untap some lands. Memory Deluge of your own in the end step. Good stuff. There we go. Memory Deluge resolved. Untap some lands. They get 1 Rummage Trigger and 2 Kiki Jiki homies. Which, unfortunately, I have yet to see a single hard counter in the 26 cards I've drawn this game. So if they go for a creativity now, it's going to pay off. I have the Censor that can cycle, so I have 1 more look at Absorb this turn. Just gotta hope they keep playing scared, or they just don't have it. Those are the 2 possibilities here. Field of Ruin, bummer. There is a basic left in my deck. But this Castle Vantress has been quite the tool for me. So they're going to wait for me to activate Vantress and then try to shuffle away the card that I like that I keep on top. But joke's on you, I have a Censor. I can draw it immediately. Okay, I found an Absorb. I found an Absorb. This is not a drill. Top. Let's go. Wow, tight play. I'll draw that card anyway, thank you. Okay, and my last basic is on the line here. There it is. Okay. Going to my turn. Drawing a card for Teferi. Another Wandering Emperor. Supreme Verdict. Clear out these gobos. And then pass the turn. They can flashback Deluge in the end step, which I am not going to counter. Prismari command. 2 damage to any target, and target player makes a treasure. Sure. Deal 2 to me. Interesting. That means they're ignoring Teferi. They're going to try to win this game another way. It also means they didn't want to... Did they not have the mana to Deluge? I thought they did. Ottawa, my Teferi. Alright, fair enough. I guess we'll start the countdown over again. Alright, go ahead. Fable becomes a thing. And I'm going to go for a Wandering Emperor in the end step. I would like to start pushing damage somehow. I'm going to make my 1/1, my 2/2 Samurai. My brain does not want to accept that it's a 2/2. And I'm going to cycle Shark Typhoon. I'm at a point and in a format of low enough power that I think casting Shark Typhoon is actually viable. But oh, what did I walk into here? Oh, just Deluge. That's fine. Like, I think casting Shark Typhoon is viable in this format, but I'm going to be spending Teferi next turn, and then I'd like to hold up Absorb, and these Shark Typhoons, if I can draw more Absorbs, I think I'm ahead here as long as I don't just get out-muscled. Deserted Beach. Teferi. Plus Teferi. Supreme Verdict. That's kind of cool. I'm going to put a +1 on the Samurai and bash. The Fateful Absence lets me kind of ignore this reflection of Kiki Jiki because I can just poke it if they try to do anything with it. And in the end step, untap some lands. They got a full 7 cards in hand. If there's a plan to punch through, it's live. In the end step, I think it's time to Deluge of my own. Pioneer players, feel free to let me know in the comments of all of the terrifying instants that I've just been tapping out into in all of my end steps here. Oh, Spell Pierce. Yeah, that's a good one. That's embarrassing, this phase of the game. But, I mean, my deck's really mana hungry. Gonna come up eventually. Plus Teferi. Re-Teferi. Backup emergency Teferi. I like that. And I'm gonna attack for the 5 again, and I'm gonna make a Samurai this turn. Oh, are we Shark Typhooning? Sure. Got a good answer to that. March of the Otherworldly Light. Ooh, they can make a second shark. That's pretty cool. I guess I'll respond to this with the Fateful Absence. I don't want to give you 2 sharks. And Otherworldly Light. This is happening, so I might as well do it. Or they draw the card. Get rid of that as well. And damage is done. We have seen multiple sweepers. I'm actually going to plus. Oh, I should have done that pre-combat if I was going to do it. Alright, I'm going to make a 2/2. I'll stick to the plan. If they do Anger the Gods or Sweltering Suns or whatever, I have another Wandering Emperor. Not a big deal. I've also somehow remained comfortably 2 minutes ahead of my opponent's clock this whole game, even though I feel like I'm taking forever. Creativity. I will use my 1 counter spell that I have available and hope it holds up. Okay. Do you have 2 creativities? Because that would also do it. You're dead on board. Like, it's time to make your move. Oh, God. Well, it's going to work. Believe it or not. Then it goes in World Spineworm. Oh, okay. I don't lose to this. Wandering Emperor is fucked. Okay, so you get to attack. And I'll play a Wandering Emperor. Keeping the new one. Making sure I click on the correct one. Okay, they just conceded before I had to figure out which one was the new one. The new one had 3 loyalty. It was clear. Okay. That was actually the best possible outcome for that game, because now I know what their deck actually does and how to tangle with it. Farewell was great. I like that a lot. Summary Dismissal's good. Mystical Dispute seems kind of whack. Dovin Veto, really good. We saw Shark Typhoon, Table of the Mirror Breaker, all that stuff. Like, this deck is clearly built to not just be a one-trick pony. You have to respect their 2-for-1 token engines while you're also respecting their combo. So, pretty cool deck, the way it's constructed. Hullbreaker Horror seems like a complete monster here. Hullbreaker Horror, is this a Dream Trawler matchup? Am I ever going to just tap 6 mana and put Dream Trawler into play? I don't think so. Hullbreaker has flash at least. Portable Hull, poking on the tokens and the treasures and stuff, that doesn't sound good. Dwari Disruption, that's my least favorite card in the deck, but I understand why it's here. And is it a Supreme Verdict? I just brought in a Farewell. Do you bring in Farewell in matchups where you shave a Supreme Verdict? Farewell hits artifacts too, which is the important part. Maybe it's just a Censor, but Censor hits the Fable on the way down in a way that I like. All right, I'm going to shave a Verdict. All right, let's do it. I'm going to keep this hand. It's a little wonky, but I think I'll have time to figure it out. At least I hope I do. All right, it just became less wonky. I'm still going to lead on farmland. I think that with the way the colored sources are distributed here and Hullbreaker Horror being in my hand, planning to cycle a dual land is a mistake. I'll just play it. Pathway. Okay, I can play my Hallowed Fountain tapped, or I can represent Censor. All right, I'm going to make them play around Censor. And if I shock in Hallowed Fountain, they really have to play around Censor. But I'm kind of a coward. I think that's the Pro Tour play, though. They didn't even have 3 mana. Boo, boo. Oh, now I actually have the Censor. That rules. Okay, I'm going to play Field of Ruin. I would like to turn this colorless land into a colorful land sooner than later. I guess shocking in Hallowed Fountain was better because, like, I actually have Absorb. I'm like, haha, I can Censor you, but literally Absorb is in my hand. Okay, in the end step, I will fix my mana here. The world's most awkward terramorphic expanse is what's going on here with this Field of Ruin. Mari Command. They are looting and making a treasure with this. Discarded Disdainful Stroke and Big Score. So they had the opportunity to Big Score and chose to Prismari Command instead. Interesting. All right, I do have a 4 mana spell. I'm going to shock in. I have Summary Dismissal if they go for something. I have Wandering Emperor if they don't. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, holding up Spell Pierce. Fine. Not walking in a Spell Pierce. Not how we do. I'm just going to march this thing in the end step. Get rid of that. And shock in another Hallowed Fountain. Now I can play around Spell Pierce with a counter spell. Or even offer up 2 layers of counter with Absorb plus Censor. This treasure theme deck of theirs is pretty good against Censor, though. Passing the turn. I will offer up Wandering Emperor on the altar of Spell Pierce. I gotta flush the Spell Pierce out anyway. And this is a pretty low-cost way to do it. I mean, Emperor is an insane card, but also whatever. Compared to the other cards in my hand, it's just fine. And it resolved. Cool. Does that mean I'm playing against Shark Typhoon? I can Summary Dismissal Shark Typhoon. Ooh, that's fucked up. Alright, shock in Hallowed Fountain. Continue just going all the way down. Race to the bottom. But play around Spell Pierce is worth it. But they didn't Spell Pierce me, so maybe they don't even have that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I just let Shark Typhoon happen and use Hullbreaker Horror to mess it up in the future. Yeah, because if I Summary Dismissal this, then they untap in Creativity and I lose. That's not a deal I'm willing to take. I'll just play to this Hullbreaker Horror, cycle these Censors, try to find land number 7. Are we going face or Emperor? Going after the Emperor, you got it. I appreciate that. Indomitable Creativity with 1 target. I will Absorb. Double Counterspell beats me here. Or double Spell Pierce. If they tap out to interact, I have Censors. Alright, or the spell is just countered. I prefer that version, for sure. Okay, cycling, Censor. And cycling Censor. Come on, land number 7. Supreme Verdict, that plays too. Not quite as well, but it does. Missed on land number 7. Hate that. And I think I'm just going to Emperor here. And exile the Shark. I just don't have a good other plan. I guess I could face Fateful Absence, the Kiki Jiki, and hold up Summary Dismissal. Maybe that's better. I'm getting Spell Pierced. I'm going to lean in here. Like, I'm not representing good interaction for creativity anyway, so if you have it, you have it. I'm just going to try to control the number of objects they can flip into. Shocked and Steam Vents, they're prepared to use all 8 of this mana this turn. Oh. Yeah, that makes sense if creativity is involved. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah. Zap for 2 things. Oh, is it more? We're getting gobbled. So Kenzan. Okay. I'm not getting creativity. They're just dumping out on the board straight into my Supreme Verdict. Yeah, don't play around things you can't play around, and frequently you'll be rewarded. All of these are attacking Wandering Emperor. Yeah, she'll just die. That's fine. Though, I guess the spirits are free blocks, so I should take them. Yeah. I'm likely to Supreme Verdict this turn anyway, but a lot of those were impermanent objects. Oh man, I drew a Teferi. All right. I'll attack with my Vigilance creatures first, see how they feel about that. I will summon Teferi. If Teferi draws an untapped land, I'm holding up Summary Dismissal, and even if it doesn't, I'm holding up Fateful Absence. And I have a pretty reasonable board presence versus their 2/2s. You get to loot this turn, down to 2 cards in hand. Kept them both. You hate to see it. Okay. I'm going to let this happen. There's a lot of treasures. All right, yeah, I'll just block. The Teferi is worth protecting. Wandering Emperor last turn I both couldn't protect and wouldn't if I could. But taking out these goblin tokens feels like a good idea. We're tapping a bunch of mana in End of Combat. I wonder if this is actually an instant or if they just don't know where they are in the turn. Okay, we're back in the main phase. And passing the turn. I think I want to make a 1/1 shark. Just drawing cards. Or this could be my opportunity to absence the... Do I even care about absencing that thing, though? No, I'm going to make a 1/1 shark. Opponent's at 8. We've made it clear they're not really doing much. March, okay. Plus Teferi. What do we got? The 7th land is just not interested in arriving. I could Hullbreaker Horror in my end step, but then I'm not holding up interaction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could Farewell. I think I just want a Fateful Absence. The Kiki Jiki and untap my 2 lands. Alright, fine. Who is it? Shark time? Oh, Deluge time. That's fine. And drawing with the clue, 4 cards in the hand. Versus my 6 mana with 1 counterspell and 1 removal spell. We saw Otawara last game, so they have a way to boop Teferi if they need to. But I'm making a bigger shark now. They haven't shown me a reason not to tap out in the end step yet. Maybe they have their own Hullbreaker Horrors, but I'm going for it. Their life total is 7. Just putting 5 flying power into play seems reasonable. Flashback Deluge, that's fine. They tap 7 mana, and I was like, oh, they do have Hullbreaker Horror. But no. 4/4 creature. Land number 7 has arrived. We're in business. And the second Hullbreaker Horror, just what I wanted. Okay, I can draw with Teferi first. Wandering Emperor. That's a good one. And attack with my 5 power. Put my opponent to 2. Are we casting a spell just to remove one of these sharks? That would be great. Otawara the shark. Oh, that's fine too. That was so many resources gone. Cool. I mean, the sick joke here is that I don't even have a good way to use my mana. I guess I could put Wandering Emperor in and pass holding up Summary Dismissal. But that's not even good. In the end step, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll exile the Kiki Jiki. So that's out of here. There are no objects to be creativitied currently. And I have the Emperor, which I've learned is actually an answer to what they're doing with creativity. Big score. I could just try to counter this. I lose to Spell Pierce either way. I just pass the turn. Like that. End step, Wandering Emperor, let's go. Put that damage back on the board that Otawara desperately tried to stop last turn. Don't mind a Spell Pierce. Don't care. Fiscal Dispute. Don't care about that either. Basically Spell Pierce. Irrelevant. Okay. Hallowed Fountain. Can I get a counter spell? Oh yeah, Absorbs here. Shock in Hallowed Fountain. And then back for 1. And then in my end step, in response to Fairy Trigger, I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I can, in the end step, flash in Hullbreaker Horror, and then untap my lands, and I'm holding up Absorb. Which, even if they do Spell Pierce it, I can bounce their creativity or their target for creativity. And Teferi's in Emblem mode. It's party time. Creativity with 1 target. Sure. I will absorb that. White, blue, blue. And I will bounce your 1 target. So they're setting up a second creativity probably, which will only have 1 target. Unless they sideboard it into a different plan. I don't care. Okay, they're just conceding. Yeah, okay. I don't know if my opponent was playing more scared than they needed to, or if this deck is just scary, or that matchup's just good, or that deck is just questionable, but that felt really easy, even though it was scary. And we got a 4-1. This blue-white control stuff taken over. Definitely had some games, like that Niv Mizzet match was crazy. I thought we were dead multiple times. They triggered Niv Mizzet, what, 3-4 times in that game, and still just lost somehow. The staying power of blue-white, not to be denied. Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is also undeniable. I don't know if this list, like I've mentioned Portable Hull and all of these things that are going on in the deck a couple times. Like Portable Hull was just bad across the board. I understand there are matchups in the format where it's probably your best card, but also, do we need 4 of them on top of the 4 Supreme Verdict, 4 Wandering Emperor, Farewell, and March? And even Shark Typhoon interacts with the board. Like, that just seems like a lot for that, where maybe that could be another card. That's my one area of feedback, because I'm not super in the weeds on how Pioneer Blue-White should be constructed. I'm not going to act like I'm an expert, but I can say from this 5 match set that Portable Hull felt like it was there in obscene numbers for not a lot of payoff. But everything else felt good. Just taking your time, don't die, and sometimes you'll win. And in this league in particular, we won 4 out of the 5, 80% win rate. Argue with me in the comments about the math, because it's true. Andy, thank you for sending me this deck. It was fun to play. Pioneer is a pretty cool format. It's pretty open right now. It's a PPTQ format, or local Q, RCQ. I don't know what the acronym is these days, but it's a format that is starting to pop back up and be supported again by Wizards. So if you're not playing this and you care about the Pro Tour, maybe you should pay some attention. I'm still soul searching in this format myself. I haven't found a deck that I love, and I do enjoy the play patterns of this deck. I don't love how on the back foot it is, and how like Censor doesn't line up with this and Portable Hull doesn't line up with that. I'm used to playing Counterspell and Prismatic Ending, so it hurts me a little bit to have all these wonky answers and have to figure out what the right numbers are for any metagame instead of just cards that answer everything. But I think that is ultimately a net positive for the format, that the blue-white control deck doesn't just get to answer everything. So cool list, cool format. We did pretty well with it. Andy, thanks again for sending this. Everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon and all the other links that support the channel in the video description, and I'll see you for the next one.